Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll get the latest on the on-again, off-again tariff trade war with China. Also tonight, encouraging information about advancements in treating the blood cancer multiple myeloma. And we'll hear from SRP on their continuing project to provide electricity to homes on the Navajo Nation. The stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. A Superior Court judge today sent the Attorney General's fake electors case back to a grand jury to reconsider if criminal charges should indeed be brought. The judge agreed with the defense that important information was left out when the case was initially presented to the grand jury, which wound up indicting 18 people for creating a slate of fake electors as a way to keep Donald Trump in office after Trump lost the 2020 presidential election. The Attorney General's office says it will appeal today's decision. Other headlines: the Greer fire in northeastern Arizona has now burned more than 20,000 acres and counting. The fire is 38% contained, and fire officials are encouraged that containment lines are holding. The governor over the weekend declared a state of emergency, releasing state funds for what the governor applauded as a coordinated effort.
That the work done ahead has made a huge difference in the ability to control this fire. I know we're not out of the woods yet, but huge testament to all the work, the coordination, the partnership that goes on all the time leading to this point.
No injuries have been reported, but structures have burned and evacuations are in place for the towns of Greer, Eager, and South Fork. The U.S. Supreme Court today ruled that the Trump administration can remove deportation protections for nearly 350,000 Venezuelan immigrants. Those immigrants had been allowed to stay in the U.S. under a humanitarian program called Temporary Protected Status, but the High Court ruled that the administration can, for now, end the program's protections pending appeal of the case. The justices did say that some individual immigrants can still bring legal challenges, including if the government tries to cancel their work permits. Today's decision follows a ruling last week in which the High Court blocked the administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport immigrants. The justices sent that case back to an appeals court. The United States and China recently announced a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs. The agreement came as the U.S. was moving toward a self-inflicted recession and possible supply chain meltdown. For more on the impact of the trade truce on the economy and in supply chains in particular, we welcome Dale Rogers from ASU's W.P. Carey School of Business. All right, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you.
You're a supply chain guru here, so let's talk about it. It seems like this happened a million years ago, but it was only last week.
Right.
90-day pause on what's the pause?
Well, it's not really a 90-day. It's a 90-day pause from the 145, and then the China side was 125, and so now we're down 30 on Chinese products and 10% on U.S. products, and so into China, and I think that it's just the beginning of the Trump administration backing down, because if they stay with 30%, that still is basically stopping most everything we buy from China, and it's a disaster. You know, you got local small firms, they're mostly small firms here in the Phoenix area. There's one in Chandler I'm thinking of right now who sells toys, and they haven't ordered anything, and their only factories in China, and they haven't ordered anything for 2 months. And if they order stuff today, which they're not going to do, not at 30%, they can't make money. It'd be a month and a half before the stuff gets here.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing in trying to figure this situation out, is looking in advance, and that's where you, as a supply chain expert, you kind of see where things are, but mostly where things are going. How do you know where things are going when from 145 it goes down to 30, and from 125 it goes down to 10, and then it could bounce back up again?
Yeah, we don't really know where the tariffs are going. My belief, though, is I'm more optimistic than I was last time I talked to you, because I think they're going to back down. Because if they don't, Republicans in the Trump administration will be so unpopular, and there's already people yelling at them. I mean, Walmart announced in a conference call last week, we're going to raise our prices, and Trump went crazy over the weekend.
He basically told them, why don't you eat the prices?
Right, and you can't at 30%. You just can't. There's not that much margin. And that's one of the thing a lot of the policymakers don't understand is how slim those margins really are. It might seem like a lot, but you end up getting rid of a lot of that margin as it moves forward in the supply chain.
So it's 30 and 10 right now. That's the tariffs right now. U.S. tariffs on China is at 30, as you mentioned. China tariffs on U.S. falls to 10. What does that do to the economy?
Well, it's worse tariffs than we've had in over 100 years. So it's going to crush things, especially in a time where we're more dependent. You know, we built these global supply chains. We're more dependent on the outside world than we've ever been.
You mentioned toys. I would imagine laptops, electronics, tech stuff.
All of that stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, if you look at the way electronics are sold in Brazil, you basically have to make them there or they're unaffordable. You know, Brazil has had basically 100% tariff on electronics for a long time. And whenever I would have Brazilian executives come up to Arizona, you know, they'd go to Best Buy and all the places, buying the Apple Store, buying stuff, because if they buy it in Brazil, they're not going to get as good of a product. It's going to cost twice as much.
So basically, we can call it a pause, I guess, or a truce, or whatever you want to call it here.
It's a reduction.
Yeah,
it's a reduction for 90 days, but
yes.
It might go back up.
What happens if it goes back up?
Well, I kind of don't think it can. I kind of think that President Trump is going to announce some sort of victory that might be a real victory or not a real one, and we'll say, you know what, we're really going to trade with China and we're going to knock them down. My guess is he's going to stick at 10%, which is really still too high in my opinion, but it's a lot better than 145 or 30.
Just the actions of making it to 145 and bringing it back down to 30 and considering that's a pause and a truce and a win of some kind, a win-win situation. Has the damage already been done?
Some of it already has been done. The thing is that we really don't see the effect of the tariffs yet. What I've been telling everybody, I think it's August before we really see impact of the tariffs. It might be late July, but it's August because of just how much stuff we brought in early, and then also moving through those inventories.
I got to tell you that I think it was Friday, Consumer Sentiment survey came out for Consumer Sentiment. It's at near record lows.
Right, for good reason.
That's a lagging indicator as well, is it not?
Yeah, and you know, Ted, it's crazy. There's a history lesson here, I think, and I'll try to do this quickly. 1930. The U.S. was really worried about using their agricultural sector. We were getting imports from other places, not nearly as much as we get now, by the way. And they said, we can't, you know, there's this industrial revolution. People are moving off farms. This is a tragedy. So the Democrats back then, plus the farm state Republicans, put tariffs on that aren't as big as what we've got on China right now. And that really moved us into the Great Depression. And here we are almost 100 years later, and we're doing the exact same thing because we were worried about losing manufacturing when really economies evolved. We were agricultural, we were manufacturing, and now we're really services and innovation, and sometimes we kind of forget how things can evolve.
Last question on this. What happens to storage when you got stuff there, then all of a sudden you have empty ships crossing the ocean, and now all of a sudden you're going to have ships carrying more stuff? What's the impact there?
Well, we're pretty good at managing that. There are some hiccups there, but for the most part, we're handling warehousing. And there's companies like a company called Flex, F-L-E-X-E, that does sort of, very flexible warehousing. You can expand or contract, and so we're pretty good at that. But it is an issue, and certainly planning that stuff coming in is an issue.
So bottom line, you seem to think when back-to-school sales start hitting, watch out.
We're gonna see some problems, but I also think that before the end of the year, we're gonna back down.
Interesting. All right, Dale Rogers, WP.
And you can call me on that if
I
I'm
will.
wrong.
We'll have you back up
All
here
right.
and we'll run the
Okay.
tape. Dale Rogers, WP Carey School of Business. Always a pleasure. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
In this episode, actors Lea Salonga and Amanda Seyfried uncover their roots.
Oh, there's a story.
Wow.
You didn't know this?
No.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
Please read the transcripts.
Oh my God. What?
What's it like to see this?
Soap opera. Missing in action. Whoa, that's a mystery.
Meet your DNA cousin. Turn the page.
We're DNA cousins?
Tuesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
I have some glad tidings to impart.
Whoa! Look at that!
I'm still surprised at how good I am.
Jane Austen was my sister.
I didn't think I would ever study medicine, but here I am.
Absolutely delicious, especially straight out of the oven.
I've never seen anything like this.
I think we have sufficient cause for celebration.
Researchers at Mayo Clinic, Arizona have developed new treatments for the blood cancer multiple myeloma. The advancements are extending lifespans and offering hope to patients and their families. Joining us now is Dr. Rafael Fonseca, Chief Innovation Officer at Mayo Clinic, Arizona. Doctor, good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Let's talk about multiple myeloma. What is multiple myeloma?
So myeloma is a cancer that arises from the bone marrow. Some people will call it a blood cancer. It affects mostly individuals in their 60s and 70s. It is a cancer that results from the abnormal growth of the cells that normally would protect us by producing antibodies. Everyone's familiar with antibodies now, as with COVID.
Yes.
But the cells can go rogue, and if they grow in an excessive way, that's what leads to the cancer form, which is myeloma. And patients, as a consequence, can have a number of symptoms like destruction of bones, anemia, and also problems with their kidneys.
How common?
You know, we have about 35,000 new diagnoses per year in the United States, so it's not an uncommon cancer. It's the second most common blood cancer after lymphomas.
Risk factors involved?
You know, most of it is just general susceptibility. Age is, of course, a factor. It's very slightly more common in men. It's twice as common in individuals that are African American, but by and large, there's nothing you do or you should stop doing that would make it less likely to occur.
Nothing environmental that you found so far?
No, nothing major. There's a few factors, but they're not major players in the risk.
The treatment, we can talk about your treatment, but heretofore, what was the treatment for multiple myeloma?
Well, when I started training, it was old-fashioned chemotherapy. That's 25 years ago plus, when we were using pills that were, considered in the chemotherapy category. And ever since, we've come a long way, where we now bring small molecules, targeted treatments, and most importantly, I think, immunotherapy approaches.
Immunotherapy is a big deal here.
That is correct.
How so?
Well, you know, people had a hard time at the beginning to know how to harness a person's immune system to fight back against cancer. Cancer, at the end of it all, it's a failure of our immune system to have recognized those cells as cancerous. So now, through genetic engineering and also through biotechnology, we can actually prime the person's own immune cells to go and fight back very specifically against this cancer cells.
Was there, and I know so many advances here from Mayo Clinic, Arizona, but was there an aha moment in terms of this development?
Yes, you know, I think the aha moment is a combination of things, and that comes out from the past 20 years, where we have seen over 20 FDA approvals for various treatments of myeloma, and we soon realized that one of them alone would not do the trick, so we had to create a team. And now through a team approach, meaning that we combine some of these drugs or treatments that we have available, we can put a large number of patients into very durable remissions.
And when you talk about durable remissions, are these situations where they are still compromised in some way, shape, or form? Because I know someone who has this and who has, it's like he's cured, for goodness sakes, for the past 20 years.
Yes, I mean, the best situation would be for someone not to be my patient, of course, that we meet socially, but the treatments are surprisingly well tolerated. And many of my patients, as I see them out in the street, I tell them, you know, people would not know that you're dealing with multiple myeloma. Now, we're very mindful, we're careful with the side effects. We explain all of this in detail to patients, but our goal is to get them back to their normal lives and as much as possible to a normal life expectancy.
Did research on other cancers guide this research on this particular cancer?
I think it's true, but it's true also in the reverse direction. That is, myeloma research has guided developments in other cancers, and we all talk to each other. We're somewhat silo approach that, yes, I focus on myeloma, but when we go to our meetings, I want to learn what they're doing in brain and lung cancer and all other cancers.
What about lymphomas, leukemia, these sorts of things? What is there a bit of a silo with multiple myeloma, or can it apply
The
to
silo
these
walls are thinner there because actually they're next door neighbors.
Yes.
So lymphoma is a next door neighbor to myeloma. And well, they're fundamentally different if you ask me from the science and the biology. Some of the treatments that are used there we use as well too, and we exchange the use of some of those drugs and newer treatments like CAR-T.
So remission is possible. Is it likely, or is that just too individual a case?
It is very likely. So nowadays, if you take a patient who has a newly diagnosed myeloma, I should say that 95% plus of patients should achieve very good remission. What we call a complete remission, meaning a disappearance of those tumor markers that allow us to know that there's myeloma in the background, should occur in about 70 to 75% of patients.
Now, but are we talking cure here?
Well, you know, it's hard right now to talk about that. I am personally convinced we're already curing a fraction of our patients. For most of the ones we tell them are cures, when we look back and we see that they were diagnosed 15 or 20 years ago, and still there's no evidence of recurrent disease.
Yeah. We're going to talk about vaccines, mRNA vaccines tomorrow, but I want to find out if there is such a thing as a vaccine possible for this.
You know, there's some work going on, but it's not at the forefront for our progress right now. I think most of the most exciting areas is modifying the person's own T cells, something called CAR-Ts.
Yes.
And bispecific antibodies. So we use those now routinely in the clinic and with, you know, wonderful results.
So, and I want to talk about what you're doing and why these results are so wonderful. What are you doing differently than other hospitals, research organizations, what they're up to?
Well, we've taken a multi-pronged approach that involves, you know, multiple aspects. Of course, you know, working with the multidisciplinary teams. We have research laboratories that are devoted to the study of myeloma, its origins. Importantly, how can we go about treating this? We think we can provide state-of-the-art clinical care, and that's aided in no small part because of the technology we have for diagnosis, for monitoring, and also a big chunk of this is our participation in clinical trials. So it's a composite of all of that that I think makes this quite special for patients.
And so advancements from here, where do you go? What do you focus on?
Well, we started here working quite a bit on genetics. And that was the genesis of our program, and understanding genetics as prognostic markers, also as therapeutic tools. And now we have evolved to make that be a pathway for drug development, some of which seems to be quite effective.
Okay, is that drug development in the market, or is it still under clinical?
Some of that is in the market, some of that is commercially available, some of that is still under development that we hope will bring additional options for patients.
I got to tell you, this seems like it's somewhat, we've talked about immunotherapy on this program since really it was a brand new word, and we were all very excited about it. It seems to have come a long way, but this seems like it is an especially good cancer story. Am I getting that wrong?
No, I think it may sound self-serving, but I think myeloma has been an example for many other cancers because the number of approvals, the developments in understanding the disease, and most importantly, the ability to change the survival for patients made it a very attractive field. I mentioned I started 25 years ago. No one wanted to do myeloma. You were last in line if you were doing myeloma. Nowadays, everyone wants to work in myeloma because of this dynamic environment.
Wow. Well, congratulations on all the great work there and the great stories. Dr. Rafael Fonseca, again, Mayo Clinic, Arizona. Again, we love doing positive health stories, and this is one of them. Good to have you here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, former President Biden says he's been diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer. A look at what his diagnosis means. That's coming up at 6 on Arizona PBS.
SRP is continuing its efforts to bring electricity to residents of the Navajo Nation with a program called Light Up Navajo. The goal is to get electricity to remote areas that have historically not been connected. Jesus Rodriguez. Jesus is a section supervisor for SRP. He joins us now. Jesus, good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. All right, this is now Light Up Navajo 4, correct?
6.
6?
Yes, sir.
Holy mackerel, what happened to 4 and 5? All right, what are we talking about here?
So we're talking about, for SRP, we've gone up there since its inception, 6 years ago. And we spend a few weeks up there, and it's pretty much building power lines to homes that have never had it before.
Yeah, and you're working with other utility companies as well, true?
Yes, we are, from all over the nation.
Yeah, and so how does it work? I mean, first of all, how do you figure out where you're going to go and then take it from there?
So we usually have guys from NTUA that we meet and we link up. We get the jobs from them, the materials from them. They guide us into the area because the area is very vast, wide open, and oftentimes inaccessible unless you know how to get there. So the guys from NTUA help us get there, help us line up the jobs, and we pretty much have our crews that go out there and do the work.
And now these are homes. I mean, how remote are these homes?
Just to give you an idea, sometimes we can put up 50 structures just to power one home. And that could be a few miles away from a main road.
And when you say structures, you mean poles and
power poles, yes, sir.
And so you dig the holes, you install the holes, you run the electric lines. That's what's going on here?
You dig the hole, you set the pole, you run the wire, hang the transformer, energize it, set the meter, the whole 9 yards.
How long does that take?
Well, it depends how many poles you set.
I guess. Well, and how do you know how many poles you need? I mean, does the terrain of the land dictate that?
Often it does, but all that's already worked out through their designers. NTUA does a fantastic job of preparing for us to go up there. So the jobs are already set. We pick up the material, and we go out there to the job sites. The poles are delivered. We start digging the holes, setting the poles, stringing the wire, hanging the transformers. Often, depending on the size of the job site, depends on how long we're going to be out there.
Yeah, yeah. NTUA, you've mentioned that a couple of times. What is that?
It's the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority.
Okay, and how much a part of this process are they?
Well, they're the ones that are, we're up there doing it for them.
Yeah. So are they overseeing? Are they helping both?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Okay.
Yes.
The challenges. I would imagine the challenge. You just got remote areas. Is the heat a problem, or is this mostly done when it's not in the hot weather years?
Well, we do it in the early part of the year, but this year we faced a little bit of everything. I was up there for a week, and it was extremely hot for that terrain, for being up north.
Yeah.
But then my partner went up there for the second week, and he actually got snowed on. So
goodness.
They had to shut the jobs down the last few days that were there because of the areas were just impassable. They couldn't get there. The vehicles were getting stuck, and the last few days were pretty much just worried about getting in and out of there, and the work came to a halt.
Well, getting in and out of there do you have campgrounds? Do you have temporary housing? How does that work? These are long distances.
Yes, they are. Often we would drive a few hours a day to get started and to go do a job. Which means we start really early and end really late.
Yeah, yeah. And when a family is connected, when a house is connected, talk about that experience.
It's a really good feeling just to talk to the people and see them have power for the first time. I mean, I think it's something that we all take for granted.
Yes.
And you really see the appreciation of being able to turn that light bulb on for the first time. It's great.
Do you hear or see reactions from folks who are maybe part of Light Up Navajo 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, who have the power now, and did they come to you and say it's been a life changer?
They have an appreciation dinner once a week while you're up there.
Oh wow!
And often a lot of the customers, the people that we meet, the people that we energize, go to those dinners, and they're just so thankful. It really hits home because it's like we're just up there doing a job, we're helping out, and you don't realize how thankful people are to have it.
Yeah, yeah. As far as getting utilities to these folks on the Navajo Nation, I imagine quite a few have been done in the 60s. How many more need to get done?
Well, as far as how many need to get done,
yes,
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but I can tell you what we've done since its inception.
Yes.
SRP has been there since Light Up Navajo 1. And we've installed 805 wood poles. We've strung 424,463 feet of wire. We've set 98 transformers and provided reliable power to 128 families.
Very, very good. I got to ask you, how did you get involved in all this?
They asked for volunteers from our division, and I just like to volunteer to help people out.
I was going to say, you probably have a lot of folks volunteering for this, don't you?
We do. And it's tougher every year to choose the people, but
yeah,
you know, we're only up there a few weeks a year, so we definitely take the people who have the most experience.
And it sounds like there are dozens of other utility companies involved as well, correct?
Correct.
And so you have to kind of figure out how to work together to get the job done, don't you?
You do. You're set in areas where you're working by yourself, but sometimes you have to tie in and work together. But being an electrical worker, being a part of the IBEW, it's part of tradition.
Yeah.
All linemen can work. Usually, all linemen can work together.
Okay, so in Light Up Navajo, you say 6 now, huh?
Yeah, this was 6. Yes,
Holy
sir.
smokes! I went from 4 to 6. Is there going to be a 7, 8, and 9?
I'm pretty sure there is.
Yeah, you going to be involved with it?
I'm going to try.
All right, very good. Jesus Rodriguez again, section supervisor at SRP. Congratulations on that, and thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.